morning folks, it's Andy here from Bushcraft and I hope you're having a nice day and welcome to another video. So today I thought I'd go through my Bushcraft and Wild camping gear, and I'm sort of running with two kits at the moment, one being a cold weather kit and one being a warm weather kit. The differences are only slight in terms of the clothing that I would bring or the sleeping gear that I would use. There's a couple other small things that I change out depending on the season, but I'll explain those later on in the video. So I thought I'd start off with the pack that I use during the warmer months of the year. This is a Berghaus Centurial 30. The main pack itself is 30 litres and you can get additional side pouches. As you understand it, those side pouches are 5 litres each, which gives it an additional 10 litres, making it a 40 litre pack. On the front of the pack you've got these molly loops, and what I've done is I've bought this Condor hydration pouch and just fixed it on using the molly loops, and then there I just keep my canteen, my titanium mug and my spork. That way it's outside of the main pack and I can get to it easily if I need a drink of water rather than having to dig around in my pack to get it out. The lid of the pack, you've got a zip here, and then you've just got a small pouch that you can keep odds and ends in. I usually keep like my head torch, spare batteries for the head torch, hanks of paracord, etc in there. On the lid of the pack you've got these additional molly loops, so I've attached this bungee cord through them and also this utility strap, and I'll keep my DD tap in a small stuff sack, so I feed it through the bungee cord, cinch that down, clip the utility strap around it, tighten that down, and that way it keeps my DD tab on the top. It's secure and it's outside of the pack, so if I was to happen to get caught out in the rain, then my tap's right there. I don't have to open my pack, dig it out, potentially getting stuff inside my pack wet. That wouldn't be an issue really either, because I have dry bags that I keep inside my pack to keep everything inside the pack dry anyway, but it's just an extra added measure. So yeah. On the back you've got these shoulder straps. I find them very comfortable and they're sturdy. They don't compress easily, so when you've got the weight in the pack and it's sitting across like your collarbones, the straps they don't compress and then dig in. You've also got this grab handle. You've got the sternum strap. I don't really use them that often, but I keep it there just for the just in case factor. And then you've got the waist belt. It's only utility strapping, however it is enough, and for me it's comfortable enough to keep the weight on my hips, so it's not, the weight isn't dangling from my shoulders when I'm just wearing the shoulder strap. And then you've got the back padding as well, and for myself I find it very comfortable. I'm one of those guys with long legs but I've got a short back, and it's, out of all the packs I've worn, I find it one of the most comfortable packs. So this is the one that I run with when I'm in the warmer months throughout the year. And also it's the one I use if I'm just out for the day. I would usually take the side pouches off and just go with the main pack for during the day. But for the colder months I have one of the British Army PLC Bergens in olive green. I use that during the colder months because obviously it is bigger, so when I'm using a bigger sleeping bag it fits better than that. If I put my cold weather sleeping bag in this, it literally fills up the entire pack and there's nothing else I can fit in it. And when it comes to the winter months I'm going to be bringing extra clothing as well even. But all in, I find this pack really comfortable and I would definitely recommend it. I'm trying to remember the price in. If I remember rightly, the pack itself I think was about £65 back when I got it. I got this about maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. The side pouches, they were separate, I had to buy them separate, and I think together they're £25, but again that was back then. I don't know what they are now. You may be able to get a bundle deal on it, I don't know. And the Condor pouch on the front, that was about £20. So all in, this pack is near enough £100, but it was worth the money, and I wouldn't change it at the moment anyway, until something on it fails me and the shoulder strap rips out. But for now, this is the best pack I found, and to be honest I think if it did break and it was irreparable, I would just buy another one. But yeah, good pack, highly recommend it. So this is the sleeping system and shelter system that I go with during the warmer months. For the bag, I just go with the Snug Pack Jungle Bag. I like it because it's got this additional feature of the bug net into the hood, and I've also done my own modification where I've sewn on a wool blanket just for a bit of extra warmth. I couple it with the British Army Gore-Tex bivy bag because it gives it's obviously waterproof and it's windproof, and when you put these together, to me it's more like a 3-season sleeping system. It's very good. For the shelter itself, the tarp I go with, it's in here, and I'm not going to get it out, but it's in there. It's the 3 metre by 3 metre brown DD tarp. I've had it for maybe a year and a half now. Before that I used to have a green rectangular tarp, but I find with rectangular tarps they're harder to make certain shelters out of, so I went for a square one. The only difference between the warm weather kit and my cold weather kit is one is the sleeping bag that I use. I've recently bought a new sleeping bag. It's a Snug Pack Sleeper Expedition bag. I haven't used it during the colder weather months yet, so that's going to be a review in itself later on in the year. Also, during the warmer months I don't bring with me a roll mat. I tend to just sleep on the floor. I know you can have the convection issues where the ground sucks the warmth out of your body and leaves you cold, but for me I've never ever felt that issue during the warmer months of the year. Certainly through the colder months of the year I'll bring out some form of ground insulation, whether it be a wool blanket or a sleeping pad, but for me the warmer months I've never found that I've needed one, so I don't bring one. So yeah, that's my sleeping system. So this is my cooking and canteen kit that I go with when I'm out in the bush. Usually I would have a Trangia alcohol stove with me, but on my last trip out I noticed that it was leaking the alcohol, and when I had a look I had little hairline cracks around the outside of the main body, so I've had to get rid of that. I'm planning on getting a stainless steel Tatonka alcohol stove in its replacement. That's not going to be for a few more days yet, but if anybody's had any experience with the Tatonka stainless steel alcohol stove, drop me a comment because I would like to hear what you think about it. But getting back on, for the canteen what I use is the Clean Canteen 40-ounce stainless steel water bottle with the wide neck. I love these water bottles, I think they're amazing. I used to have another one before it, but it was a narrower version one with a narrower neck, but I upgraded to this one because it nests better with my cup. The other one because it was thin, when you put it inside the titanium mug it would rattle more when I'm walking about, and it used to really annoy me. But I love these water bottles, the fact that they're stainless steel, and when you can see from the browny black soot around it, you can put it straight on the fire and boil water in the water bottle. So it's a great feature, awesome water bottle, they're brilliant pieces of kit, and they're reasonably priced. This was only £20. For the mug what I use is the Vargo 750ml Thai Light titanium mug, and this was a bit more expensive. This was about £55, but again it's definitely worth the money. It's really light and it's strong, and again I just put this straight on the coals to boil up water inside it or cook food inside it, whatever I'm going to do with it, and the lid just sits on top there. For spork, for my my eating utensil, I use the Light My Fire titanium spork, and I've had this for about 10 years. Love it, does exactly what it's supposed to do. Here what I have is a £2.50 bacon tray from Tesco's, and I use this as a frying pan and a plate, and when Rusty's with me I use it for his dog food bowl. So, but I mean, yeah, it's only £2.50, but it's stood up to a lot of hard use. It's a bit bent and bashed in the bottom, but it does what I need it to do, and it's only cost £2.50. I also have this glove. There used to be two, but the right hand one got burnt in a fire accidentally. I sort of one day finished using the right hand glove, half-heartedly threw it, and I thought I had cleared the fire, but it hadn't. It had landed in the fire, so that's no longer with us. But they are elite USMC Kevlar tactical gloves, and for what I want them for, they're not the best. I'm sure they're probably really good tactical gloves, but as I said, for what I use them for, they're not the best. I'm planning on getting rid of this, and I'm going to be going onto Amazon and getting a decent pair of leather gardening gloves and see how they do. But yeah, this is the kit that I run. I always have this with me regardless of the time of year. The only thing that may vary is I'll bring during the colder months I would bring a zebra belly pot, and I can cook up a stew in that. But yeah, this will always stay the same other than that. So I thought I'd run through with you the type of clothing that I use when I'm out, depending on the time of year. As it's the warmer months at the minute, the type of clothing that I bring with me for extra clothing is just this. This shirt that I'm wearing now, this is what I class as my warm top during the warmer months. It's a bit chillier today, hence the reason I'm wearing it, but usually I can get away with just a t-shirt. To go along with that, I bring my wool watch cap. It's tan, brownie coloured. I'm sure we all know potentially you can lose 10% of your body heat through your head, so you need to do whatever you can to keep it, and this helps. I have these mittens, these Finsulate mittens. I've had these for a good maybe 2 or 3 years now. I don't really use any other gloves apart from these, and they're very good. They keep you warm. They wouldn't keep you dry if they got wet, but they'll definitely keep you warm. The finger bits, they fold back, so you've got the use of your fingers should you need to be doing any jobs while still wearing these gloves. I also have these Bridgedale woolen socks. What I do with these is when I go to bed, the socks I've been wearing during the day, I'll take them off and I'll put these on. I can't find it at the moment, and I may need to replace it if I can't find it, but I usually bring with me a shemag as well. Put it around your neck as a scarf or over your head, helps cut the wind. What I also have is this Trespass raincoat. There's no insulative qualities to this, it is literally just a raincoat. Keeps you dry if you get caught in the rain. So this is what I would bring with me during the warmer months as my extra, my warm clothing during the warmer months. The shirt, the hat, the gloves, the socks, the raincoat to keep me dry, and I would usually have a shemag. The only difference between this and what I would bring with me during the winter or colder months is I would still bring these, still probably use this shirt. I have another one, but either way, one of the two I would bring them with me. I have a warm woolen jumper that I would use, and I've got a much more robust waterproof Gore-Tex jacket with really good insulative value, and same with trousers. I have a really good pair of Gore-Tex insulative trousers, and together that shell, one, keeps me dry, keeps me warm, and with these additional pieces of kit, I'm snug as a bug in a rug. The clothing I've got on now, aside from this shirt, I've got a t-shirt underneath. It's an Isocool breathable t-shirt. I think they're about $9.99 from Mountain Warehouse. I think they're called Agra Melange. I'm not sure if that's how you spell it. I'll pronounce it even. Trousers wise, it's just these cotton cargo trousers that you can get from, I got this a couple of years ago, I think from Tesco's, maybe £10–12. Footwear that I'm wearing at the minute is these brown Altberg Defender boots, and they're really good, sturdy, weatherproof boots with great ankle support. At the back here there's a really big steep hill, and I've had to climb down that to get to here, so if I rolled they would help. Other footwear that I have is a pair of green Patagonia trail shoes, but I would only really use those in areas that I know that I'm going to stay dry. If I'm going in areas that I've never been to before, or that I know are good chance of dipping into some water, then I'll wear the boots rather than those shoes. But yeah, that's the clothing that I use when I come out. Right folks, so I thought I'd go over with you my maintenance slash fire pouch. Various items in it, they all do different things. I'll start off with this. This is just a cut-in drawstring pouch. It used to be white. I keep in that just a pan scrubber, cleaning my dishes and all that sort of stuff when I'm out here. What I also have is this little piece of wood cut into sort of a H shape, and wrapped around that is, I don't know how many metres, but a fair amount of brown thread with a couple of sewing needles there to do any clothing repair should I need to. What I also have here is a small pencil. It's not really the pencil I wanted, it's the shape so that I can wrap the duct tape around it. The duct tape is if I need to make an emergency repairs to my tap. Should, when it's up, catch a spark from the fire and it's raining that night, or potentially it could rain, then I've got this duct tape to repair the hole temporarily while I get home to do it properly. What I also have is this tin here, and it's full of car lube grease, and while I'm out in the bush what I use that for is to protect my carbon steel blades. Additionally, I've got a strop, and it's exactly what it looks like. It's a piece of wood with a bit of leather glued onto it, and I use that to strop my knives. What I've also got is a small field stone, this little attempt at a homemade leather pouch, and then I've got this little sharpening stone. The red side is supposed to be 3000 grit, the white side is 10,000 grit, and it just keeps your knife ticking over while you're out for a few days, until I get home and I can use my proper water stones to sharpen it up. To go with the strop, I've got this honing compound, Starkey Blue. I've also heard it called Smurf's Poo. I have a small folding knife. It's a German Mercator stainless steel folding knife with back lock. Good little knife. Also have a Bic lighter. Small ferrocerium rod, fire flash one. I have a little tin here, just an old Altoids tin, little hole piercing the top, and what I use this for is charring punkwood. I have tried doing charred cotton, is that what it's called? Can't remember. Char cloth, that's it. Not a fan of it, but I do like the charred punkwood. Inside this little tin, I think it's about 5 or 6 fire cakes, and they're homemade ones. Basically it's makeup remover pads. They're soaked in methylated spirit, then set aside to dry, then soaked in melted Vaseline, then set aside to solidify, and then they're soaked in melted candle wax and then set aside to solidify, and they're put in these little tins, and it's just emergency fire. If I'm stuck out for whatever reason and I need to get a fire like that, then these are what I'll use rather than trying to find birch bark and such. So long as I have this kit with me anyway. What I also have is a couple of sticks of fat wood. A couple of months back I found a down pine tree, and it was tore open on the inside, big chunks of fat wood, so I took a couple of pieces home and got a couple of bits out of it, and then also some birch bark. And that's it. That's what I keep in my fire slash maintenance pouch. So what I have here is a map of the area that I'm out in, and a silver compass to navigate my way from point to point. I'm a big advocate of learning how to use a map to navigate out in the bush, map and compass. I would say it's probably one of the more important skills when it comes to bushcrafting, camping, hiking, whatever. You can be as good as you like at carving spoons and making natural shelters or making raised beds, but if you can't navigate yourself from the car park into the middle of the bush and then back again, you're dancing with fire, to be honest, I think. So yeah, I say it's one of the most important skills and you should definitely learn it. And I say once you have learned it and you're confident with your abilities with it, then I would say introduce something like a GPS to it. It just gives you that extra 2% assurance, and it does make things a bit easier when it comes to navigating. What I would recommend is you don't become one of those people who rely on these or only ever use one of these, because these fail. The battery runs out, the screen can smash, it can get soaking wet and fault, or you can just lose it. And if all you've ever known is how to navigate with a GPS, or you rely on GPS to get yourself from where you are to where you want to be and back again, I'd say that's a dangerous game you're playing there. These fail all too easily, and time again people have been stranded out in the middle of nowhere because they've relied on these and it's failed, or because they've lost it or whatever. So I say, yeah, one of the most important skills is learning how to use a map and compass. I learned to do it a long time ago, and between that and lighting a fire, those are probably the two main skills I use when I come out to the bush, is navigating with a map. So yeah, 100% learn to use a map and compass when you go out. So this is my first aid kit that I bring out with me, and this comes out with me regardless of the time of year it is, or what I'm doing. Even if I'm just out for the day, this will always come with me no matter what. But it's a waterproof Dura first aid pouch with waterproof zips. It's got this sturdy handle on it, and on the back it's got this belt loop with these black snaps, so you can take it on and off, but I keep it inside my pack. It's always at the very top of my pack on the inside. But I will admit, it's a lot. When I saw it on eBay, I sort of misjudged the dimensions of it, and I kind of expected it to be half of the size of what it is. But when it came, I'm kind of glad it came as the size as it did. With everything that's in it, if I tried to jam that into a smaller pouch, it would bulge out awkwardly, and it wouldn't sit in my pack properly. But with it being the size it is, I can spread the stuff out inside it a bit better, and it gives it a much more thinner profile. So when I pack it into my backpack, it compartmentalises a lot better. That's how I find it. But it's got these zips, and it opens up like a clamshell sort of. On either side you've got these two mesh nettings and there's zips. So on this side, all I really keep on this side is like wound dressing stuff, various plaster sizes and butterfly stitches, blue bandage, zinc oxide tape. But the main thing I keep in here is this trauma wound dressing. I think it's the kind that they issue to the military. But I hope a day never comes where I need to use this, but whether it be myself or if I'm out with someone else and we suffer a severe enough injury that we need to use this, then at least I have it. On the other side, it's where I keep all the medication stuff. I'm not on medication or anything, it's just your standards like antidiuretic pills, ibuprofen, antihistamine tablets. I keep these rehydration treatment sachets. I've got a mylar blanket inside. I keep my toothpaste and toothbrush in here. I've also got nail clippers. It's good to keep on top of your toenails, especially when you're out in the bush. If you're out long enough, your toenails, they're going to grow. You need to keep on top of them because you can cause yourself injuries. What I also keep in here is this small mirror. I find it's good for checking out small wounds and stuff. When you're out and about, if you get a scratch or whatever, if it's in a place where you can't see it, like if it's on your back or if it's on your face, your mind will sort of play tricks with you and make you think that it's worse than what it really is, and make what you think is a big huge gash on the side of your face is just a small scratch. And if you have the mirror, it gives you that peace of mind because you can check it and you can see, it's not that bad, it's fine. But if you don't have it, then your mind makes you think it's worse than what it is. So that's the reason for bringing the mirror along. I also have a pair of tweezers in here for plucking out obviously splinters and plucking your eyebrows and such. But yeah, that's my first aid kit. Right, so now we get into the meat of the topic, the tools of the trade. Just got a couple of miscellaneous items even that I want to mention. AAA batteries. I bring spare AAA batteries because I have a head torch that runs on them and my GPS runs on them. So I bring those. Usually I always bring hand paracords. I've got a foam pad here that I usually use as like a seating pad or a kneeling pad. But right now it's getting used as a mat for my tools. What I always usually bring is a head torch. I'm not a fan of handheld torches because if you ever need to use your torch in the evening to do some sort of task, you have to find a way to prop your hand torch up so you can use the light beam. Whereas if you're using a head torch, then it sits on your head and you point the beam wherever it is you want to look. So bring a head torch. I usually bring it out just before last light. And I would attach it onto my belt loop like that, and that just dangles there. The reason I do it like that is if ever an emergency after dark and it's on me, I don't have to go rifling around in my backpack trying to find it. So, like I said, we get into the meat of the bones now. Everyone's favourite subject, the tools. I'll start off with a ferrocerium rod. This is all pretty much homemade, the whole lot of it. The only thing that was really bought was the rod. The only thing that isn't homemade is the rod. The rod has been bought off the internet. It's about a 6-inch rod, half an inch thick. There's about an inch of the rod inside the wooden handle. The wooden handle is just a piece of birch. You drill the hole into it, epoxy resin the rod into it, and then carved it down to the shape I wanted it. Drilled the hole through it, and it's got this bungee cord going through it. I made this holster for it. Basically wet formed this piece of leather around the rod to keep it in. Stitched it onto the front of the loop and stitched the loop at the bottom, and that way this goes on your belt. The rod goes in, you pull the bungee cord down and over the bottom of the rods, and that basically keeps it in. It'll move, but it's not going to come off. It's pretty much the only ferrocerium rod I use. I've been using it for about a year now, and yeah, it's one of my favourite things that I've made. What I've also got here is my Leatherman, and this aftermarket pouch that I bought for it. I'm not going to lie, it's not the best pouch. It looked a lot better on the pictures on eBay, but when I got it here, it looks pretty flimsy. At the minute I'm in the middle of making my own pouch for it, but it's not quite finished yet, and maybe I'll show that at a later date, but for now, that's what we have. So the Leatherman, it's just a Leatherman wave in black. It's got various tools, pliers, wire strippers, a blade in it, a serrated blade. It's got a file, a small wood saw, a couple of screwdriver bits, can opener and a small pair of scissors. Yeah, worth its weight and definitely worth the money, absolutely. I would say I don't get through a week without using this at least once in one way or another. So not only good at an outdoors environment, it's good for being back at home as well. So what we have next is the axe. My axe is the Gransfors Brooks Small Forest Axe. It's the only one I've owned, and it's probably the only one I'm ever going to own. I may downsize. I probably won't upscale to a larger axe. We only live in the UK, so you don't do much tree felling with axes anyway. But yeah, like I said, it's the only one I've owned. Probably owned it for a couple of years now, and it is an amazing axe. I'm not going to compare it to other axes to say it's the best axe ever, and that's that, because I don't know. I know Gransfors Brooks is a good make. the quality control is very good, so it's one of the better ones to go with. Around the shaft I've made this collar. It's basically jute twine wrapped around it, and then I've epoxy resined over the jute twine, and it's just made out of hard shell. But it can slide up and down the shaft of the axe. I need to get a tighter grip on the neck of the axe for whatever reason, or if not, then I can push it back up, and then if I am ever doing any chopping and it deflects and the shaft of the handle hits something it's not supposed to, then there'll be less damage caused to the axe shaft. I've also put a small lanyard at the bottom just to hang it up. The axe, it's the only axe I've ever owned, probably the only axe I'm ever going to own. If I ever get another one, it's only going to be to get a smaller one than what this one is. Just get a small hatchet. So to go along with the wood chopping is the wood saw. What I have is the Silky Gomboy 240. I've had this since April this year. I used to go with the Baco Laplander, but it failed me, and when it come to getting a new one, I sort of wavered with the idea of just getting another Laplander again or getting something else. And I've seen a lot of good reviews about the Silkies. So when it come to my birthday, the missus asked what I wanted. I says, can she get me one of these? And so she did. It's got very, very aggressive teeth, fairly long blades. It's very, very good folding saw. Very good. But we'll go on to the knives now. Now I have two knives. Well, I lie, I've got a lot of knives, but they're all sort of in a box, never to be used again, because that's the thing with kitting, it's a progression thing. You get something, you use it for a while, and then you realise it's not that good, and then you get something that's better. Well, that's how kit works. I have the Enzo Trapper 95 here, and I'll start with this one. The reason I'll start is because this is the stainless steel version. The steel is N690 cobalt steel. I did use, well I still do as I said, have the 01 tool steel version of this knife, and it's a great knife, could not fault it. I just had a bit of an issue with the extra maintenance you had to have on the blades due to the rusting issue. And I was curious with having a stainless steel Scandi knife blade, so I went with this. Now I've had this for over a year now. When I think about it, I've had this for over a year now, and I've done everything with it that I do with pretty much any other knife I've ever had, and it's held up. There's been no issues with the blade, there's been no chips, nothing. It's done exactly what I wanted it to do, and this is a knife I would highly recommend. I think it's about £110, and I got it off a website called knivesandtools.co.uk. So yeah, absolutely. The stainless steel version, if you're looking for a stainless steel knife with a Scandi grind, this is a very good knife to go for. Very good knife. It's easy to sharpen as well. I mean, it's a Scandi grind and they're always easy to sharpen, but I thought maybe with it being a stainless steel version, there might be a few issues with that as well, but no. When using it to do the basic bushcraft tasks that you always do, and some of the more advanced tasks, it does it perfectly. And when it comes to sharpening, it does it, it's fine, no issues with it. So yeah, absolutely brilliant knife. One of the other main go-to knives I have is my SE6. It's not got the fine finessing abilities as what this one does, obviously. It's more of a chopping workhorse type knife, but what this knife is intended for, it does it very, very well. You cannot take that away from it. It is a very, very good knife. It is well built, well thought out, well put together. I stripped the black coating off mine because after so much use of it, the black coating was starting to come off and it was making the knife look a bit shabby. So I took the coating off and I gave it the grey patina effect instead. The handle scales, on the side of the scales it's against the blade, I've also coated that in epoxy resin. I found it helps to stop the moisture creeping through, so there shouldn't be any rust issues behind the handle scales of the handle scales where they attach to the blade. But what I also do is I take the handle scales off, and then I coat the handle portion of the blade in car grease lube, and then put the handle scales on, and then that also gives it that extra protection. Something I've done to the sheath is on the back I've just duct taped on a big needle for any major repairs that I might need to do. But what I've also done is I've put this loop on, and it's just screwed on using, they're called Chicago screws. You can get them off eBay, different colours, different size of packs. And basically the leather's folded in half, wet formed around the ferro rod, folded in half, then glued, then bolted on with these Chicago screws. And we take off the ferro rod off the belt holster, and then that goes on there like that, and then the ferro rods is on the belt, on the sheath with a knife. Now you've got a knife and fire all in one package. What I'm also thinking of doing with this is a piece of leather, the shape of the front of the sheath, probably the same again with the Chicago screws, Chicago screw it on, but what I'm going to do on the front of the leather is make a pouch and put a sharpening stone inside it. So then that'll be a decent knife then all put together. What I'm also thinking of doing for the Enzo is probably getting a Kydex sheath made for it. Yeah, that's future plans. That's my kit that I bring out with me. Like I said, it pretty much stays the same all throughout the year, other than the sleeping bag I would use, or the backpack that I would use. During the colder months I would probably use I would use a sleeping pad, extra warmer clothing, and my zebra belly pot. I would bring that out during the colder months as well, because I like making a stew. One of the things I didn't bring up during the video was food. Usually when I come out food wise, like main meal, I'll sort of go with like rice and some sort of meat, whether it be like chili. Sometimes I like bringing out tuna and mixing tuna into the rice, and that would be like a main meal. For a breakfast meal, I go with my old favourite, fried spam and some like pot of porridge oats. And then for like throughout the day, I would sort of just graze on stuff like flapjacks, oat cakes, and a bag of trail mix. And you get like a bag of trail mix from Tesco's for like £1. Or you can make your own, just buy like nuts and raisins and chocolate raisins and stuff, and just make your own. But anyway, so yeah, that's the kind of food that I'll bring out. Brew kit, I would bring out like hot chocolate, coffee sachets, and like, as of recently I've started getting into drinking raspberry tea, so I'll probably bring a couple of raspberry tea bags out with me as well from now on. I've enjoyed making this video, taking you through all my kit, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.